Welcome to the Dan Casper Show podcast, your chance to catch the full show anytime, anywhere. If you missed it live on the radio, no worries. We've got you covered with all the sports talk, opinions, interviews, and conversations from the show. From the Packers to the Brewers to the biggest stories in sports and around Wisconsin, it's all right here. This is the Dan Casper Show podcast. What's up, everybody? Good morning and happy Wednesday. We are making the turn on this week. DK Show coming to you from the TDS Sports Talk studios this morning. Thanks for hanging out with us and making us a part of your start. Whether you are listening on the radio dials, 105.1 FM, 790 AM. Also, we've got, you can stream it up online at sportstalk1051.com. Video stream up and rolling on YouTube, smart devices, smart speakers, all that good stuff, right? App, download it, take it on the go. What do we have on our game plan for us this morning? Oh, that game, Brewers game last night. Oh. Brewers had the lead going into the ninth, not able to hold on. Trevor McGill giving up 3 runs. Trevor McGill struggling here as of late, but giving up the lead, blown save. Brewers tied it up, though. Down 2 in the bottom of the ninth. They were able to tie it up to force extra innings, but Blue Jays able to put up 3 runs in the 10th and secure that 9-7 victory after the Brewers only able to get 1 run across the board. Ortiz had an opportunity, base loaded again. And it's like we're having flashbacks to last year. So, Pat Murphy afterwards acknowledging that, yep, they're probably going to make a change at the closer spot with Trevor McGill. We'll go through what he had to say, including calling out fans who booed Trevor McGill. So we'll see if you agree with that assessment. But Gary Sanchez hit another homer. Jake Bauers hit that 3-run shot in the 4th. I mean, those two right now are your power hitters here for the Brew Crew, it seems like. I mean, they each have 5 home runs on the season. So Dalton Varsho also picking up a home run last night in his return to his home state of Wisconsin. But we'll break it down and go through this and go through some of the comments from Pat Murphy last night and then take a look at Game 2 tonight where we've got Chad Patrick getting a start, Dylan Cease also getting a start for Toronto. So Brewers talk, including going back to Jacob Mizorowski's game last night. Apparently was pitching sick, a little under the weather, a little ill. Apparently he's like every time he threw a curveball, I thought he was going to puke. So, all right. We'll go through all that, talk some baseball here this morning. We've got football chats on the way as we are inching closer and closer and closer to the NFL draft. So we've touched on a lot of different prospects here, different positions for Green Bay to take a look at. We've talked about some defensive tackles. We've talked about some corners. We've talked about some wide receivers yesterday. Let's kind of focus on some potential players, prospects on the offensive line. And I think we know right now who the starters are going to be week 1 when we look at this Green Bay depth chart and such. But I think we can all agree as Packers fans, right, that maybe want some more depth, improved depth. Maybe somebody that pushes for a starter spot. I mean, there's questions on the offensive line, right? I mean, I think that's fair to say. We got a good grasp of who the starters are, but maybe there's some questions about, well, is that the best group out there? Because, again, how many years now have we said or have we heard from Matt LaFleur, the 5 best will play? Well, right now, it's Jordan Morgan as your starting left tackle, Aaron Banks as your starting left guard, Sean Ryan as your starting center, Anthony Belton as your starting right guard, and Zach Tom as your starting right tackle. I think it's clear that Zach Tom is the best offensive lineman on this group at right tackle. And then, they bring back Sean Ryan for that deal. Jordan Morgan is a first-round pick. Aaron Banks is making bank. And Anthony Belton entering his second year. After that, you've got Kennard coming back, Jacob Monk, Brant Banks, Travis Glover, Donovan Jennings, John Williams. They need depth. So how early in the draft should Green Bay address offensive line? It ain't going to be the sexy pick. And they may not even start right away. A la Jordan Morgan was a first-round pick and didn't start right away. Brian Blaga didn't start right away until Mark Tauscher got hurt. So how early is too early? Or is there not such a thing when it comes to offensive linemen? Because, again, I think we could all agree we look at this depth and it's like, dude, we need some more help. Help. Or do you trust Green Bay and their history that they've been able to find offensive linemen later on in the draft, like early day 3, and they've ended up being pretty solid contributors. Remember, Corey Linsley was a 5th-round pick, ended up having a great career as a center for the Packers. David Bakhtiari was 4th-rounder, I believe. So do you kind of look at, and Zach Tom was a 4th-rounder too. So do you kind of bank on that Green Bay is going to be able to find that? Or do you have a little concerns with maybe Lucas Butkus as the offensive line coach and developing those guys and that? So want your thoughts, want your feedback on that, and we'll take a look at some potential options that maybe Green Bay can draft. So, again, we've talked a lot about defensive side and hit up wide receivers a little bit yesterday. So let's take a look at the big boys on the offensive line here. So we're going to get to that a little bit later on this morning. Got a fun interview planned for 9:35. And a lot of us, maybe like around my age and such, but, back in the 90s, early 2000s and such, we used to get this catalog in the mail called East Bay, right? Oh, used to love getting that. Got my basketball shoes. I don't know how many pairs of basketball shoes or spikes or cleats from that thing. I mean, it was in Wausau, found it in Wausau, not far from us, right? Straight on 29. Well, coming up at 9:35, the founders of East Bay, Art and Rick, have come out with a book to talk about East Bay. It's literally called The Book of East Bay, 2 friends in the catalog that changed the sneaker business forever. I've got my copy. It just dropped yesterday, so we're going to chat with the founders of East Bay and the 2 authors of this book coming up at 9:35. But, I mean, kind of do an informal raising of the hand. How many of us always look forward to getting that East Bay catalog in the mail? I was one of them. And just kind of going through and circling, man, I wish I could get that pair, or man, that was, trying to find the colors that matched Timo's playing on. Still remember getting my Dada Supremes, black and gold chrome shoes from there. Oh, yeah. So that should be a fun quick chat coming up at about 9:35. Also, since it is a Wednesday, and that'll be part of our Inside the Hobby, because I know a lot of people, and I think it's mostly the Jordans, but a lot of people, collecting sneakers, collect Jordans. How many of you out there collect sneakers? Is it specifically Jordans? Is that the only, Jordan obviously has the big one, but is anybody else collecting any other players' sneakers? Or do you know of somebody who does that? I mean, I will admit, I have a confession. And I've always wanted one. And I still kind of want one. As a soon-to-be 40-year-old, I've never had a pair of Jordans. And I kind of want one. I don't care what it is. I just want to say once in my life, maybe that I owned a pair of Jordans. But I had D-Wades. I was a big D-Wade fan when I was younger and that. But, should be a good combo. But, yeah, anybody else collect sneakers? Still have some old pairs of sneakers maybe you wore back in the day and such. Maybe post it up in your man cave and that. So, what else do we got? It is a Mike's Star Market. Am I wrong? So, give me your Am I Wrongs. That was your homework assignment, right? Give me your Am I Wrongs. Text them on over, 715-830-1912 on that Shoe Doctor's bullpen line this morning. You can text those on over or hit us up on the Section 105 chat. Also, your Hy-Vee game changers. Now, again, remember, game changers can be that positive or negative. So, for example, game changer last night, you could be Trevor McGill. Or maybe it was a play. Maybe it was a player. Maybe it was a trade. Maybe it was a free agent move. It's pretty open-ended. So what was the game changer for you in the past week or so? All right, let's get your homework assignments in because, as I alluded to, for today's giveaway, thanks to Paul, who has given us a bunch of sweet cards to give away, I might as well tell you right now. We're going to be giving away an autographed card today. If you're a baseball fan, it is numbered and it is graded on here too. So it is actually, figured this would be appropriate since we're talking about closers in baseball or for the Brewers in this essence. I'm going to give away a Dennis Eckersley autographed, graded, gold framed card on there today. So you want that? It's all going to be based off participation points here this morning. So there you got it. It's actually a thick card in a thick case here too. So, man, that's a sweet looking card. Again, graded auto 10. Overall card is a 9. It looks like so. It's a sweet looking card. But since we may be looking at a new closer here for the Brew Crew, we might as well do that one as a giveaway. How do you get participation points? You text in on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line at 715-830-1912. You can hit us up with text or on the Section 105 chat, hit us up on the lines, whatever the case may be, all right? But let's get things rocking and rolling here this morning. Coming up on the leadoff, we'll talk a little Brew Crew, recapping the loss to the Blue Jays. The Brewers are now at 500 on the season. They were in line for a win, but another poor performance from Trevor McGill. What did Pat Murphy have to say about McGill and going forward? And Pat Murphy calling out fans a little bit. Do you agree with him about booing? We had this topic with Barry Alvarez in college football season too. So let's get through it all, shall we? We'll take our first break, and then coming up on the leadoff, we'll talk some Brew Crew. Coming up in just a couple minutes. Hey, sometimes accidents happen, but getting your vehicle back to normal doesn't have to be stressful. And at Superior Auto Body, they specialize in getting your vehicle looking right again after dents, dings, or collisions. And the best part, they handle the insurance process for you, working directly with your provider to make things simple and hassle-free. No runaround, no confusion, just quality work and a team that's got your back every step of the way. So get your vehicle back on the road with confidence. Superior Auto Body in Eau Claire, where the job gets done right. And just a quick note, too, they are doing some remodeling. So if you drive by, you're like, oh, man, where'd they go? They're just doing some repainting on the outside and such. So they're still there. They're still doing their thing. And I know we've had some spring storms, right? Some hail going on. And, man, it sounds like maybe we got some more coming up at the end of the week here, too. So, hey, if your vehicle did suffer some hail damage and such, Superior Auto Body is the place to go to make it look just as good as new. So check them out today, Superior Auto Body in Eau Claire. You can check them out, again, 301 North Farwell Street. If you don't see the name on the outside of their building, they're still there. They're just doing a little paint job and doing a little remodeling out there. But all right, a lot of you already kind of chiming in. So got John saying pumped for the interview with the East Bay guys. I actually talked my mom into buying me the Jason Kidd Nike Zoom Flight 5. They were released in 97. Nice. See, man, I made the mistake. I completely regret it. A few years ago, I still had a pair of D-Wades. I still had those Dada Supreme gold chrome, black and gold chrome shoes. I got them just because I was a young kid and to look cocky when I was playing basketball. And I held on to them for the longest time, and I think I just finally got rid of them a few years ago. Like, I'm getting old. I donated them, and I wish I still had them. So, son of a gun. That is one thing I should look to add to a man cave. Find somebody who's autographed a shoe or something like that, one of my favorite players, go on eBay and that. Man, that's something I should look at. We've also got a few more of you chiming in on some Packers stuff, so we'll wait till we get to a little green and gold on there. But I want to throw this out. So Brandon G coming in with a quick text saying, Brandon G here. I can be negative on players, but I never boo players. I think that's a bad look from the fan base. McGill isn't trying to be bad right now. It's something that's part of the game, unfortunately, but I do think they need to look at another route in the closer role. So I know we kind of touched on this back when Barry Alvarez called out Badger fans for booing, but let me bring it back up, and let's see if we can get some more input on it. Where do you stand as a fan on booing? And maybe a couple parts. Do you boo when you're at a game? If you don't, do you have a problem with people booing? Pat Murphy's got a problem with people booing. Get to what he had to say coming up here in just a second. But last night's game, going to extra innings, a 9-7 loss for the Brewers. They'd fall to 8-8 on the season. The Brewers jumped out to a 3-0 lead in the bottom of the fourth inning, thanks to Jake Bauers hitting his 5th home run of the season. And then he had a couple solo shots, including from Dalton Varsho in the 6th inning to cut the lead a little bit closer, 3-2. But Gary Sanchez adding some insurance runs, him and Bauers leading the team in home runs with 5 apiece. Blue Jays got a little bit closer there with another run in the 8th. But you hand the ball off to your all-star closer from last year, Trevor McGill. More times than not, you're probably feeling pretty good. Nope. Blue Jays able to put up 3 runs to take a 2-run lead heading into the bottom of the 9th. Now the Brewers were able to tie it up at the 4 extras, but Blue Jays add 3 more runs in the top of the 10th and come away with a 9-7 victory after the Brewers were only able to put up 1 run in the bottom of that game. But you had Terang with 3 hits, hitting in that 3 spot, something that we kind of thought about, pondered about yesterday with Yelich out of the lineup and no Jackson Cheerio and such. Would they move Terang to more of a power spot? Well, last night he had 3 hits, did have 3 Ks as well. But, again, Sanchez with a home run, Bauers with a home run, and that the Brewers coming away with 12 hits, also taking 7 walks, but they did strike out 12 times. Joey Ortiz had opportunities last night with the bases loaded and kind of was a flashback to last year. So Mizorowski going 5 1/3. It's that 6th inning. And Pat Murphy wasn't messing around when they got to the 6th and they started to get after him. He yanked him, even though the pitch count wasn't that high for Mizorowski. Ended up finishing with just 76 pitches, 5 Ks, 2 solo shots, 5 hits, no walks. No walks by Miz, and that was something we've been talking about. If you had to kind of critique him a little bit at, was issuing those free passes. He didn't do that last night. DL Hall comes in, shuts it down. Angel Zerpa shuts it down. But Uribe gave up an earned run, and obviously McGill with his 3 earned runs, and then Grant Anderson with 2 earned runs in the 10th there. So Mizorowski apparently not feeling the greatest during the game either. He apparently felt like he was, one of the quotes that he said after the game in the locker room, felt like he was going to throw up the whole game. But he was battling and probably wouldn't have imagined that with the way he was looking and such. So battling through for a solid outing of 5 1/3 innings. But again, that 3rd time through the rotation, kind of still a little bit of an issue. And it's usually for a lot of pitchers, that 3rd time through a rotation. That's when hitters kind of can maybe feel a little bit more comfortable, get you dialed in and such. So, but Pat Murphy also after the game, acknowledging that it might be time to look at a new closer, saying we'll see. The way Trevor's throwing the ball right now, he doesn't deserve to be the closer. But he also had the back of Trevor McGill when it came to fans booing. And this is what he had to say, quote, "The fans booing him after he saved 30 games for this team, kid, that's been through all he's been through and what he did the year before us to help us win the division, and then what he did last year, and then came out with an arm injury and still pitched one of the biggest innings of Game 5. For them to be booing him out there, that's just not our best fans, that's for sure. We have great fans, Let's remind them of that. It's okay to be disappointed. But sometimes young men go through stuff. I was disappointed in those people who didn't support him when he's going through that stuff. Does he probably care? No. Is it expected? That's fine. But these aren't machines out there. These are people. I thought that was in poor taste. But I've done things in poor taste too. So, again, kind of curious to see where you're at on this whole thing. It's a booing thing. And I'll be honest, when I go to a game, when I'm in attendance at a game, I don't boo. I don't necessarily have, like, it doesn't upset me when people boo. It doesn't annoy me, really. I get both sides of the argument. It just is, it's weird for me when I'm at a game to boo. I don't know why. It's kind of an uncomfortable feeling for me to sit there and just like boo. There's been plenty of opportunities, whether it's been a Packers game or a Brewers game or whatever. It's always been weird for me to boo. I don't know if I have a real like pinpoint reason and such. I can't sit there and just like holler boo the whole time. Definitely been disappointed, definitely been frustrated, definitely been like, what are you doing, and questioning and that sort of thing. But it's always been awkward for me to kind of boo. But again, do I have a problem with fans doing it? I guess if I'm being honest, I've never really thought of it that way, and it's never really bothered me. It's never really annoyed me. Now, if it was at a high school game, yeah, that would annoy me because, I mean, these are high schoolers for crying out loud. Or if it happened at a Little League game, God forbid, if I ever did that, then I'd get really upset at probably parents then at that point in time. I mean, if you're sitting there and, booing a kid or trash talking to a kid, you need to check yourself and your life choices at that point. That's at a different level that we have issues with and we need to talk about. But at pro and, even at a D1, I don't know. It's always, I don't even do it at home. Yelling at a TV, booing. I can't do it. It's uncomfortable for me. So, C-Bomb says, this is a perfect example of why Murphy is a phenomenal manager. He could call it a player for poor play, yet he still has his back in front of everyone. Players respect that. And honestly, C-Bomb, that was kind of something I was thinking about. Because, I mean, you look at the line. You look at the quote from Pat Murphy. Is he throwing the ball well? No. Is he giving up hard contact? Yes. Do they swing at it like they know it's coming? Yes. Does he deserve to be a closer? No. But he saved 30 games, so my heart goes out to him, and he has his back in front of, calling out fans. And that's honestly, C-Bob, kind of the same thing that I was thinking about. This is a guy that literally says, does he deserve to be a closer? No. Flat out says no. But will also have that guy's back through thick and thin and go out there and support him while also acknowledging, hey, the guy's got to play better. He's got to play better. So, honestly, it's kind of the same type of thing that I was thinking about, C-Bomb, or Chadwick, I should say, a.k.a. Chadwick. So where do you lie on the whole thing? C-Bomb, I'm kind of curious. I know how diehard of a Packers fan you are and such. Do you boo? Are you a booer? It's just, I don't know. It's just weird for me. It's almost like I can't make that sound because it's uncomfortable for me. But I guess I never really thought about if I have a problem if people do it. Again, if they do it at like high school or lower, then there's a big issue. Pros, I guess I never really thought about that. And then there's different situations of booing, I guess, too. Because is it different? Is it different when your own player is not performing well, and you're booing them? Like, okay, the Packers, let's say, at halftime, they stink. Do you boo them off the field? Do you boo them? Or the Brewers last night? Do you boo your own team for poor performance, or do you boo the opposing team? There's a difference, right? Is one okay to like boo the opposing team? Or, the one example I'll say is like when Favre returned as a Vikings player. I mean, those are different, right? Can we say those are different situations where you could boo the opposing team in that, but when it comes to your own players or your own team, and if they're playing poorly, I think we have to separate those, right? Hit me up with your thoughts, okay? We got to take a quick break, but we'll be right back after these few words. With spring rolling into the Chippewa Valley, it's time to get back outside and enjoy the season. And whether you're heading to the range or you're getting ready for some hunting seasons or just gearing up for time in the great outdoors, Tilden Gun is your local stop for selection, service, and expertise. They offer a wide range of firearms and accessories, along with a knowledgeable staff of who can help you find exactly what fits your needs. No pressure, just straight answers and real guidance. It's about making sure that you're comfortable, confident, and ready for your next outing. Spring is a season to get prepared, to get organized, and to get outside. And Tilden Gun is here to help you do just that. Stop out in and see what they've got in stock and why so many in the Chippewa Valley trust them year after year. Tilden Gun, your hometown source for gear, service, and expertise. And don't forget, if you got turkey season, that first week, opening up today. Best of luck to all of our turkey hunters. If you have any luck, please shoot us a photo on the Sports Talk Facebook page, okay? So we can put it up and do a little bragging for you. If any of our youth hunters had any luck this past weekend, please send those on over as well. So let's catch up. We've got the Section 105 chat off and rolling on the video stream right now this morning. We've got Barb saying, great comments, Murphy. We all have had bad days at work. Matt saying, Murphy honestly needs to be lauded more. How even-handed he is and the balance we need in the sports world. Joe says, in Murph we trust. Talking about booing, Joe says, I don't boo. Matt says, the most uncomfortable booing situation I was in was when John Cena inducted William Perry to the WWE Hall of Fame. I remember telling people I don't like this. A couple more comments on the Shoe Doctor's bullpen line. Josh says, not a fan of booing. It can be kind of embarrassing to me as a fan when a bunch of people are booing another person over a game, pro or otherwise, in my opinion. C-Bomb says, I don't boo per se, but I may cuss a little bit. So where do you stand on the whole booing thing? And do you separate them from whether it's your own team or you're a player on your team, or whether it's like the opponent? Like you go to a Packer game at Lambeau Field and the opposing team comes out, Bill Jarts, the public address announcer, says, now introducing the Chicago Bears, or electing to be introduced as a team as the Chicago Bears, just kind of straight read, and they come out of the tunnel and, they get booed in that. I mean, that's okay, right? Or is that still kind of weird? Let me know your thoughts. So, obviously, the topic here is, if McGill isn't going to be the closer, who is going to be the closer? You'd think, my guess is probably it's going to be Abner Uribe going forward. Had the experience last year, closed some games, big-time games towards the end of last year, was kind of the pseudo setup man. And this past offseason, there were Trevor McGill trade rumors, and it just kind of seemed, okay, Abner Uribe is going to be the guy to kind of step into that closing role. Well, you look at what he has done so far. He has pitched in 7 games. He has pitched 6 1/3 innings, 7 strikeouts. He does have a 5.68 ERA. Now, when you kind of break it down game by game, a couple games in March, he didn't. He only gave up 1 hit, 2 games, 1 hit, no earned runs. But the last couple games is where that ERA really spikes up. So last night he gave up 1 earned run, and then the Washington game back on, was it Saturday? I believe it was on the 12th, whatever day that was. Didn't get through an inning, but he gave up 2 earned runs. So you look at that, okay, maybe he's not pitching at the greatest level either, but I feel like he's probably the next option. Maybe it's Zerpa they kind of give a look at. But I would think it's going to be Abner Uribe if there is, in fact, a change at the closing role. And honestly, since it's baseball, would we be all that surprised if we see a move for Trevor McGill to be placed on the injured list, the 10-day IL, and then maybe, kind of like a rehab thing, or it's like some arm soreness? I know he's a couple ticks down in that in his fastball department, but wouldn't be surprised if we see one of those moves. How many times have we seen that in Major League Baseball? So, or maybe they just straight up, hey, you're not going to be put in that situation. We're going to put you in, maybe like a middle relief type of role in situations where hopefully they're up by a lot and you can get some work in, or gosh forbid, they're down by so much and you just need to eat innings. We've seen that as a scenario too with a lot of these pitchers. But tonight's pitching matchup, we've got Chad Patrick on the mound going for the Brew Crew, and he's going to be going up against Dylan Cease. So Dylan Cease so far in 3 games, looking for his first win. He's over, but 2.45 ERA. His last game was back on the 8th, going up against the Dodgers, where he went 5 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 4 walks, 8 strikeouts. Cease kind of like Mizorowski in the sense that his first 3 games, a little bit of an issue with the walks. So he gave up 4 walks against the Dodgers, the White Sox 3, and in his first game against the season, his first game of the season against the Athletics, had 2 walks, but he did have 12 strikeouts in that game. So Brewers a little familiar with him. Some of the players. He did spend a couple years with the Padres here. But if you're looking at at-bats, Bowers, and he was with the White Sox beforehand too. So Bowers has 12 career at-bats against him, but just 167, 564 OPS. Contreras has 9 career at-bats against him, 111 with a 222 OPS. Sal Frelick, 10 at-bats, 400 with an 855 OPS. Luis Renifo's got 10 career at-bats, 300 against him, 862 OPS. And Bryce Terang, 10 at-bats, 300 average with a 664 OPS. No home runs for any Brewer player going up against him. On the flip side, there's not a ton of experience of this Blue Jays lineup going up against Chad Patrick. He had Sosa with 4 career at-bats, but he's over. And then Sanchez has just 2 career bats, 1 for 2 against him. Chad Patrick's 1-0 with a .73 ERA in 3 games this year. Started 2 of those, as we know, kind of this past weekend. Came out of the bullpen against Washington. Was it Friday night? 3 innings, 3 hits, 1 walk, no earned runs, no strikeouts. But before that, picked up the win against the Royals back on the 4th. 5 innings, 4 hits, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts. And then against the White Sox, he went 4 1/3, 5 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts. So I think the biggest concern right now going forward for this team is, can they hold on to leads and can they shut out these, when you have the lead, can you close it out? And you go back to the beginning of the year, I know I said it. You felt confident that if this team was going to have the lead and you hand the ball off to your bullpen, that you were going to come away with wins. And right now, that's not really the case. It's not the case. So it's a little nerve-wracking at this point. I mean, I'm confident in Chad Patrick going on the mound. A little bit up in the air still with the offense just because of the injuries. But I'm definitely nervous now when you hand the ball off to the bullpen until we see some consistency and locking this thing down. But it should be another good pitching matchup tonight. First pitch, 6:40. You can catch the game. Radio dials, 105.1 FM, 790 AM. All right, we'll take a quick break as we wrap up the first hour. We're going to get to some NFL draft talk. Taking a look at offensive linemen. The question I'm throwing out to all of you is there such a thing as too early to draft an offensive lineman? Because you look at Green Bay. Green Bay is such an interesting case over the years. They've drafted offensive linemen early, but they haven't necessarily been starters right away, even first-round picks. Brian Balaga was not initially a starter, then became a starter because of Tauscher's injury in 2010 and ended up being a fantastic right tackle for a long time for the Packers. Jordan Morgan, a first-round pick, was not a starter right away. In fact, didn't even know where he was going to play right away. Now he's slotted as a starting left tackle. Green Bay's had success with drafting really good offensive linemen rounds 4, round 5. So do you bank on that happening again? It's like, no, we don't need to draft early because we can find that guy in the 4th or 5th round. History tells us that. But you look at this team this year, we know the starters. We could have a conversation about how good these starters look. Depth, definitely a big question mark. But do you draft early for an offensive lineman to improve that depth? Or do you wait for that 4th, 5th round, those day 3? We'll take a look at some of the players that could potentially be targets for Green Bay on the offensive line. So, first, we got to take a quick break, and we'll start to wrap up the first quarter coming up after these quick words. Looking for the perfect place to kick back this spring and summer? Well, then you need to head on over to the VFW Post 305, Eau Claire's go-to spot to relax, grab a beverage, and enjoy the moment. Inside, it's a great place to meet up with friends. But when the weather warms up, it's all about that patio, man. With one of the best river views in town, there's no better place to soak up the sunshine, unwind after work, or spend a weekend afternoon. Cold drinks, great people, and a view that you can't beat. That's the VFW Post 305 in Eau Claire, your spot to hang out this season. All right, so coming up next hour, we'll talk some Packers draft, Packers football, take a look at some offensive linemen on the priority list when we get to the draft next weekend. How high would you have Green Bay finding an offensive lineman? Now, we'll just kind of keep it general. We don't need to say it's got to be a center, it's got to be a tackle, it's got to be a guard. We'll just say offensive lineman in general. So, how high on that priority list would you put it? Number 1, number 2, number 3? Would you be okay if Green Bay maybe used their first pick, which is in the second round, to get an offensive lineman, even though they may not be a starter right away, just because the depth is a major question mark? I know a lot of it is we got to see how the board falls, and that's kind of where I'm at too. So, but just kind of on a general basis, is there such thing as too early for this team to draft an offensive lineman? Because I know a lot of times when the Packers draft an offensive lineman early on, you get Packers fans, not all, but some, like, ugh. But so-and-so was available, and so-and-so was available, and that. But then when we get to the season, we're like, dang it, we need better offensive line play. We need better depth. Benjamin at EC with the take on the booing topic. Here's my take on in-game booing, cheering. Professional athletes, boo or cheer all you want. You paid, so you paid, so fans how you want to. So fan how you want to. Any unpaid athletes, cheering is expected, but under no circumstance should you boo someone that is not getting paid unless a player intentionally injures or tries to injure someone. That person action should be booed. So, which side are you on? What side are you on? Do you agree with Pat Murphy with his comments about booing, or do you respectfully disagree with the skipper? So we'll get back to that topic at hand a little bit later on. Send me your Mike Star Markets, am I wrong? Hey, that's a perfect am I wrong, right? What's your am I wrong statements? Also, the Hy-Vee game changer. What's your pick for game changer of the week for the past week or so? It could be a play, could be a team, could be a moment, could be like a free agent pick. Well, we're going to have some game changers coming up next week with the draft and that. So, all right, couple bits left to the top. We'll say good morning to Morgan. Good morning, Morgan.
Hey, Casper. How's things?
Good. How are you?
Good. We have Wednesday wild card, but I can't help but notice you have the Book of East Bay on the desk. Did you spend your like middle school, high school years poring over the East Bay catalog? Because I clearly remember that in my life. What is the book like so far?
I just got it because we're interviewing the founders of East Bay in a couple hours.
Where are they from?
So, Wausau.
Nice. I thought it was Wisconsin. Yeah, good.
Yep. So their book just dropped yesterday.
Hey, I like it. It'll be good. All right, we're going to shuffle up the deck for Wednesday wild card. Casper gets to draw one random question and answer it for us here. And let's see. Fanning them out. Boom. Pick a card.
Move the camera off my pretty.
Oh, no. Sorry, guys. I know. Send your hate mail, too. Morgan McCarthy at. All right. If you could choose your own life obstacles,
what
would you keep the ones you have? I once heard this great quote that said, if everybody threw all of their problems in the middle of the street, you would run to get yours out. And I think that's largely true.
So essentially is somebody has it worse than you.
Pretty much. Yeah. So what life obstacles that you've gone through would you keep that actually ended up being a blessing in disguise?
I hate these questions because I feel like there's a lot of answers, but then you can't think of it off the top of your head.
I'll give you one chance to pass if you want to.
That's a deep question.
Or it's simple, like, I have this bad attitude, but look at me now.
I have a bad attitude.
You have a bad attitude.
I do not have a bad attitude. People make me have a bad attitude.
Okay,
I personally don't have a bad attitude.
This is kind of like everyone else is a bad driver but you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, exactly.
By the way, new Man Cave shirts, is that what I'm looking at?
I'm testing out some beta testing.
You're going to try to run it by the guys at East Bay and see if you can get it on the merch line, man?
See if they can hook me up with Chaps or Foot Locker or whoever owns it now. So,
all right, I'll give you another card. You don't have to answer that one, though, although the biggest
it says couples on the bottom. God dang it.
All right. What is the biggest lesson you've learned from marriage? Wasn't it
that I'm always right?
Oh, can we get a direct line to your wife? Just see if she would like to call in and chime in on that. All right. 3 cards in the mix. Going in for...
Another one. Son of a gun.
Oh, this is not bad. What is the last book that you couldn't put down? You haven't started the East Bay book yet, so we come full circle here. What was the last book
that I couldn't put down would probably be... this was a few years ago, but I'd have to say I still... love it. Mosquito Bowl. It's about World